Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today, as I'm going through my grandfather's pocket knives, I have the one, the only Imperial Kamp King. So my grandfather had one in his collection. So Imperial Kamp King is pretty well known in the pocket knife world. It is their economy brand, their cheap brand. Comes from the Imperial Knife Company. Imperial was founded in 1916 by Felix and Michael Mirando, who were immigrants from Italy. And they started work in the Empire Knife Company, which is, I've had an Empire knife come through my videos. Then they started Imperial in 1916, and Imperial became one of the largest knife companies in the world. They eventually were bought by Albert and Henry Bears and merged them with Schrade, who's a knife brand that I've done more than a few videos on. But then in 1988, they discontinued the Imperial brand and just stuck with Schrade. So this Kamp King, it was their economy line because they produced a ton of them, and sold them. They were cheap, and a lot of people bought them. So I see a lot of YouTube videos about the Kamp King, Imperial Kamp Kings. This one is one of the older models. Looks like from the Tang stamp. Tang stamp goes from 1956 to 1988, and this style of Kamp King was the later model Kamp King. So I guess they have Kamp Kings as early as the 1930s. And so this one is the later one. This was the final model that was made in the United States after they stopped making this in the United States, started making it in Ireland. And from what I understand, the Irish ones were not very good. I mean, these were not made really well because they were the economy models. And then they just made them even worse over there in Ireland. Not to say Irish-made knives were bad, just that particular model. They were just going for as cheap as possible. So, like I said, it's a 4-blade knife. It's got this nice spear point in here. There's, tarnishing going on, but not a lot of pitting. I have done some cleanup on here, but I didn't go too hog wild. I didn't try to get rid of the tarnishing or anything. 4-blade camper. This guy's the can opener that's on the same side as the main blade, also with a bunch of tarnishing, but not much in the way of pitting or anything like that. Pretty good snaps in there in the main blade. For a cheap knife, it's tight, solid, no wobble. The bottle opener / screwdriver is hard to get out. I'm not sure why. But it's in pretty good shape still, and has some good, nice pull and good snaps. It's just for some reason kind of hard to get out. And I have put oil on. That's what I keep wiping off. I have put oil in there, but it still is kind of hard to get out once it's closed. And then it's got the leather punch here on this side that also opens pretty good and has decent snap. Same with the main blade. Yeah, it's cheap. It doesn't have handles, and these are all faux bolsters and stuff. It's shell handled. They're held on by tabs, but tabs aren't loose or anything. It's on there pretty tight. The liners and the bolsters are all steel. The false bolsters, I used to say. And then this black part, it looks like it's not quite sure, like paint or some kind of coating or something like that, and it's kind of chipping off a little bit in spots, so it's not perfect. It's in pretty good condition, but not perfect. And then you have, of course, the Kamp King. I find it funny that they spell it with a K. As I understand it, it's K because they had a lot of German engineers that knew cutlery very well that they employed, and so in Germany, German camping is spelled with a K. So that's what I understand why they named it Kamp King with 2 Ks. But there you go. This bale, I'm pretty sure is not the original. It kind of just looks like wire that somebody bent in place. The original bales, you could take them out and replace them, and you know, it's got this bend in here that looks like it might have been part of something else. So I don't think this is the original bale. So you know, it's got its issues, but all in all, it's pretty good. I've seen videos online where people find these and they're completely rusted out and they restore them and stuff like that. This, I mean, it was not as clean as this when I first got it, but it was in the same shape. I haven't done any restoration or anything, but it's kind of an interesting thing about this knife. It's a cheap knife, but it also still feels relatively substantial. I'm sure the earlier ones, they were a little bit better made, probably feel even better, but this is I think it's just such an iconic knife, and it's always kind of interesting. The cheap knives that last this long are still intact and everything. It's kind of testament about how even cheaply made stuff can last a while. Kind of different from today's disposable stuff, but you know, you can still find good, well-made stuff today. I'm not saying everything is disposable today, but lots of stuff is. So this is it's pretty neat finding these things still around and intact and usable and everything. So yeah, kind of a neat one. It's kind of like, you know, well, I'm sorry, I'm kind of looking at this stuff. I kind of feel like if your collection doesn't have one of these, do you really have a pocket knife collection? But yeah, so it's not surprising that something like this would show up in my grandfather's collection. So yeah, so there you go. One final look at this Imperial. I believe this is the first Imperial that I've had on the channel, at least the first one that I know of, because I know Imperial made a lot of brands. They made the Hammer brand, and I may or may not have done a Hammer brand before, and the reason I say that is I have not done one that has a tang stamp of Hammer, but some of these knives that I've gone through that were unknown might have been Hammer brands and stuff like that. But this is the first one that actually has the Imperial tang stamp on it, and they were based in Providence, Rhode Island. So yeah, so pretty neat little piece of history. Kind of seems like this is one that every kid growing up in the 50s would have had, that kind of thing. So it may not have been particularly pricey, but pretty well known. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope this finds you guys well. And thanks for everybody's support. Hope you're enjoying these pocket knives, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye for now.